Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Jonathan with JW Home Care with another video really going over the ins and outs of property restoration, dealing with insurance claims, dealing with restoration companies, either your own restoration company that you have found and hired or dealing with the insurance company's restoration company. Just going over questions in an environment where there's really no sales, no high pressure sales. This industry is unfortunately all about that. And just want to put out good information for property owners to digest. And I don't know, hopefully you find these videos helpful. Let me know in the comments. So today's issue that we're going to talk about, or project that we're going to talk about, is again kind of in line with the last video I did, but another example of an insurance company underpaying a claim and what we did as a restoration company to come in, justify the damage, and really ultimately get the homeowner what they needed to get to pre-loss condition. Okay, so here's the situation. Homeowner has a water loss from a reverse osmosis. That is a filtration underneath your sink. That bust, it unfortunately floods out his entire downstairs and compromises all of the drywall, insulation, kitchen cabinets, and vinyl flooring. So we were not contacted on the mitigation. We were contacted for the repairs on this project. Talking to the homeowner and going over what the mitigation company was doing and not doing, there were some points there that the homeowner was kind of concerned over, but one big item on this project that the restoration company found it was necessary but didn't actually perform it, therefore the insurance company didn't pay for it, was the removal of the kitchen cabinets. So if you could imagine this, this reverse osmosis system completely flooded out the downstairs. Everything was completely wet by the time the homeowners got home. They were able to call in a company, get up the water. The company removed drywall, the company removed flooring, but the company didn't quite want to go into the kitchen. Now, in this particular project, the kitchen was brand new. The kitchen had just been built a little over 6 months ago, and so the restoration company was definitely hesitant in pulling those cabinets. The insurance company sent out an independent adjuster. If you don't know what an independent adjuster is, it's an adjuster that works with the insurance company. So they typically work with a group of insurance companies. So normally you'll have a company insurance adjuster. Some of the big players like State Farm, Farmers, USA, they have company adjusters. They do use independent adjusters. And then some of the smaller carriers will use independent adjusters. And they kind of share that network of adjusters. So the insurance company sent out their independent adjuster. At the time he went out, the kitchen was not pulled. The restoration company wanted approval from the insurance company first. Now, this is something that we come into contact quite often. Homeowners will ask questions of, hey, I know that I want this, I want this removed, but I want to seek insurance approval first. So insurance likes to often say, it's your duty to restore the property regardless of insurance coverage. So in that situation, the homeowner, knowing that the mitigation company would say, hey, these cabinets are no good, we could have possible mold growth, the homeowners should have authorized them to pull out the cabinets. But this does happen where, ripping out a $30,000 or $40,000 kitchen, it's a big burden to homeowners, and so I understand it. So as a restoration contractor that's maybe dealing with those concerns, I'll shoot an email out to the insurance adjuster and I'll essentially go over the scope of work. I don't necessarily get approval, but I bring them in the, in the loop of what I'm doing and say, this is the scope. Do we have any issues with this? Do we need to wait? Do we need to stand by until you can investigate? And then we'll get an answer, and that normally checks the box. In this situation, the restoration company decided not to mitigate the cabinets and just left them there. Walking into the project 3 weeks after, there were still dehumidifiers, there were still air movers. It really seemed like an excessive amount of time to have drying equipment in there, especially when the kitchen cabinets were not removed. I think that there could have been an argument for, and restoration companies will do something called stabilizing, but in this situation there was too much equipment to stabilize the environment until the insurance adjuster was able to see those cabinets. When the insurance adjuster came out, he wrote it as the kitchen cabinets were fine. He, kind of confirmed that the story that I tell often is us mitigation companies, us restoration companies are the ones recommending the work. We're the ones trained or certified in these areas, and we then make our recommendations, and the insurance, will within reason, pay within our scope. So, the homeowner was very concerned, waited for that repair check to come in, and the repair check came in to about $17,000. That was enough to cover the drywall, was enough to cover the floors, but was obviously concerned that the kitchen cabinets were not paid for. Therefore, we were contacted, and one of my first things that I went over with the client was the kitchen needs to come out. Now, I hate to say, regardless of insurance coverage, you need to pull it out, because I do understand the financial burden, and you want to make sure you're doing everything, documenting it properly for the insurance company. But, in the insurance company's eyes, it was fine. It looked fine. And so he decided to call the mitigation company back and give them the authorization to pull those cabinets. And once those cabinets were pulled, they were able to document the water damage and now a little bit of mold damage underneath those cabinets. So that was the justifying reason for the cabinets. The homeowner was absolutely hesitant and really trusted what I was saying, that it was kind of the truth, right? I mean, and I can appreciate that when you are calling somebody or you're referring somebody, especially being in a service-based business where high pressure sales and people are always trying to pull a fast one. I could understand the hesitation, but in this situation, the client proceeded with the removal, and that now gave us documentation to the insurance company that the kitchen cabinets were affected. We went ahead and estimated the project, submitted our documentation, and essentially within 2 weeks had an agreed upon number with the kitchen included. The drywall, the flooring, those numbers that I originally mentioned were $17,000. What was pretty underpaid as well, so we were able to get them to come up on those areas and essentially get the client their check. Now, one little thing that likes to happen, and if you're dealing with this right now, the insurance companies will settle a number, and sometimes they'll sit on that money for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So in my situation, when we know that we've come to some sort of agreement, I will let the client know, hey, I've agreed via email with the insurance company. I want to make sure you follow up if you don't see that payment issued to you. So my homeowner was aware of it. He happened to wait about a week and then got tired that he didn't see the check issued, so he reached out to his insurance company, and the insurance company said, well, Jonathan over at JW Home Care never agreed to an amount on the repairs. And so I was able to just forward the email that I sent to the insurance company, and that resolved that pretty quick, and payment was issued and received within about a week. So you want to make sure you're always crossing your T's when you're dealing with these claims. You want to hold everybody accountable. As a restoration company, we often will get the blame on, hey, they didn't get back to us, they didn't get us the documentation. Now, I can't speak for most restoration companies, but I can tell you there's a lot of us, especially our company, we are incentivized financially to move a project along, right? You call me in and you want something done, I want to make sure I am on top of it, you're happy, we make that money, you get your house restored, and we move on. Now, these insurance companies do love to retain their money, and they love to pass blame to the restoration company. So in most cases, especially for us, we have email documentation to back that up. So if you're dealing with a property damage claim, a huge thing that I can at least recommend to you is make sure that you are documenting everything via email. It's no hard feelings to the adjuster. If you can imagine, they're dealing with a lot of property damage claims. These insurance companies do like to overwork their adjusters for sure. So you want to make sure that you're fresh in their email box, and they can pull up an email thread and say, okay, it looks like I committed to this on the phone or whatever it is, and I need to get that payment issued or this settled or whatever it is. So I'll wrap it up in honest mistakes. But anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. I know that me sitting here on the computer just recording these are real examples that I'm dealing with. There's really kind of a a trend in my industry where I feel like I'm going over the same kind of pitch going into every single house. You know, hey, your insurance company may or may not get back with you. They're going to play some games, and I want to document this in case you are dealing with it and you've got a restoration company that is going through it right now, or you've got a project that you're going through it, that you can find this information helpful and use this to move your project along. So I'm Jonathan with JW Home Care. If you happen to be in Ventura County and need help with water, fire, smoke damage, mold damage project, I'm the restoration company. I would love to help you. If not, happy to answer any questions. Shoot me an email, give me a call. Happy to answer any questions and get you taken care of. So anyways, until the next video, you guys take care.